Hello everyone, welcome to the Joking Dolphin Gaming Pod. I'm Mark and as always I'm joined by Matthew.
Hello.
And Nathan.
Hey up everyone.
How the devil are you both?
Not far
Surely
back. Can he complain? Yeah.
Excellent.
Saying that, nearly had a heart attack about 5 minutes ago when we were playing co-op, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, that was scenes, we'll say. Scenes. Limbs everywhere, but we'll get on to that. Okay, shall we kick off with some news then? Where should we start? What should we start off with? Shall we kick off with Jim Ryan?
Yeah, go on then. Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, so President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, has announced his retirement after 30 years with the company. And he cited difficulty maintaining a life balance between his home in the UK and his work in the US. Am I an idiot that I didn't know he was English?
Really? Do you know what?
No, you're probably not. I would have thought it was American as well.
That's one of the things that I always took as with some pride that it was English.
Yeah,
and you guys didn't even know.
I just didn't notice. So else I found out he's from a place just outside Newcastle. So.
Well, he's lost that accent, hasn't he, clearly. 30 years going from the UK to America strips that out of you.
But yeah, that's quite a commute, isn't it? So
yeah,
I can understand.
Just the 5,000 miles, you know?
Yeah. But he will continue until March next year, but then Hiroki Totoki will then take over on an interim basis. And in his statement, he said, I feel humbled at having the opportunity to lead a company delivering products that touched millions of lives, from award-winning games to the incredibly immersive technical achievements delivered with PlayStation 5. I'm immensely proud of what we have achieved and very optimistic for the future of Sony Interactive Entertainment. From my beginning in Europe, it was clear that Sony had built something truly special. Generations later, I am still amazed by the excitement and passion of the PlayStation community. It is thanks to you that we have been able to keep innovating and delivering even greater experiences. Since 1994, generations of games have inspired us to be better, to push the boundaries, and the results have been incredible. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, the internet wasn't exactly favourable of the ban, it seemed.
Well, it's like a couple of bloopers. Well, saying that, it's pretty much signed off by raising the prices for PlayStation Plus, and then like, right, see you later.
Yeah, it's a bit sketchy, isn't it? It's like I'll just leave just to avoid the backlash when all these things start becoming implemented. But in fairness, Xbox CEO Phil Spencer, he put out a tweet. He said, Jim Ryan has been a great contributor to our industry and a fierce leader for PlayStation. I wish him the best in what he does next. Thank you for all you've done for the community over the last 30 years, Jim. It's nice of him.
Yeah. But I think that's important to remember. He was there before the original PlayStation launch, and he's been through the last 5 generations.
Yeah, so
he's done a lot for the industry.
Yeah, I've got a timeline of his career here. So he joined Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe in 1994. And then obviously he was there for the PlayStation 2 release in 2000, and then PlayStation 3 release in 2006. And then in 2011 he was named the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe. 2013, PlayStation 4 released. And 2016 became the head of global sales and marketing of Sony Interactive Entertainment in America. And then 2018 appointed deputy president of Sony Interactive Entertainment. And then in 2019 he was named president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. So he's not had a bad career.
He's not been president for that long, has he?
No, he's only been there for about 4 years. Is my maths right? Yeah. But the exclusive games that were released under his leadership are as follows. The Last of Us Part 1, so the remake thing. Last of Us Part 2. Demon's Souls remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, God of War Ragnarok, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Horizon Forbidden West. It's not a bad list.
I know. Yeah, it's fairly decent, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, worse things could have happened.
Certainly.
But no, what do you think about this for the future of PlayStation then? I mean, I know a lot of people were sort of cheering him leaving because I think PlayStation might take. Apparently, he was like a lot in favour of like games as a service and that kind of thing. But it's a case of, do we really think it's going to change regardless of who comes in?
I doubt it, because as far as I knew, they had that roadmap leading up to 2028 and beyond. So I think whoever's in charge is just there to steer that ship. And they don't really have, obviously they have a say in what happens, but I think obviously he's got a board of directors to answer to, and they've got their own ideas about how the company should run. And I think that's always going to take precedence.
Yeah. I think they would have had long-term goals before you even came in charge, actually. If you came in charge in 2019, I'm sure there might have been plans ahead anyway. Before that.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Because that's only the year before PlayStation 5 released. I'm sure a lot of those things were already in place. So I'm not quite sure whether people are going to get the change they hope. But I guess we'll have to see, won't we?
Yeah. Let's see who becomes permanently in charge. Yeah. Do you know what would be absolutely insane? Phil Spencer jumped ship.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
What? It completes the acquisition and that's it. It's like, right, I'm off.
Yeah.
It's like the Monday Night Wars all over again. But shall we stick with Sony? Because they had a little, well, I say little, quite a data breach. The company contacted about 6,800 of their current and former staff to inform them of the data breach, resulting in their personal information being exposed. And they said it was through a breach of the Move It file transfer platform that's used by Sony. The last in a long line of breaches in the video game industry. Well, I get maybe this doesn't stick specifically to video games, but it goes beyond that. It's not good, is it?
It's almost like they don't learn the lesson, do they?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many news about them being hacked, and it's not a good look.
Well, there are loads of different ways of being hacked. It's why cybersecurity became so prominent in the last decade, to try and stop this from happening. But there's still people that want to get your information and ransom it. And spoil things for people in terms of releasing information that we don't want to know. Sometimes we like a surprise. I know that's separate from...
That's called journalism nowadays. Spoiling out surprises.
That's it. Yeah. Feel bad for them 6,800 employees, because you've got to feel there might be some, once it's leaked, they might get contacted if someone's not happy with some of their decisions.
Yeah, it's not even that. Contacted, death threats, all sorts could be happening. Obviously, any financial stuff as well, that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
But, I suppose whoever did this did a bad job of the other group that supposedly stole some information from Dare, and apparently it's all just like PowerPoints and Java files and random miscellaneous stuff.
Well, there were chances, weren't they, really? They didn't show what they had and asked for $1 million. And
$1 million? That's for more, surely.
Yeah, at least 1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, it's enough for you to think, shall we just pay it for him to go away?
No, never pay.
That's it.
Yeah, that just leads to more, doesn't it? So, no.
Once you do it for one, then everyone else jumps on board. And that's it. You open that can of worms.
Just say no.
That's it. Don't negotiate with terrorists.
Shall we move on to non-Sony stuff? What we got?
Well, there was some, I suppose, troubling news over at Sega recently. I mean, well, other than the news that Crave Assembly have had to kind of let go of some of their staff. Their latest game that they were working on, Hyenas,
Is it first-person shooter?
I think so. Yeah, it was like an extraction / heist shooter. I think something like that.
I thought it was the game about them 3 hyenas from Lion King, but okay.
I could see why you would think that.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the game. I just surmised that from the name, but yeah.
Because they're the only hyenas that have ever existed, ever.
Exactly. No other hyenas matter.
Clearly not. So the game that Crave Assembly is working on, was working on, unfortunately got cancelled by Sega. And news about it that's come out since saying that it was actually Sega's most expensive game, which is a bit worrisome if that was going to be their most expensive game. And they can just go out and go, yeah, we'll just cancel this because it wasn't going anywhere.
Well, I can understand why it might have been the most expensive game, because what new IPs have they come out with recently? And it takes a lot more money to build a new IP than it does to reinvent old ones.
I suppose so.
And if it wasn't going anywhere, surely it's better to can it than to keep
Yeah,
dumping
I was
money
just
into
going to
it.
say, that's it. Otherwise, you've got a, what's that boat game that's never going to come out?
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones, that's it.
Boat game.
That boat game.
I
Yeah.
can remember it as the boat game, not the pirate game.
The boat game.
Yeah, then you get into that kind of the thing where you're just pumping money into it just to get it out. And then no one will buy it, and then it looks bad on the company
You're not
overall.
going to recoup your costs anyway. But...
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the article that I read from Kotaku mentions that prior to Hyenas, Sega's most expensive game previously was Shenmue.
Really? The original one on Dreamcast?
Apparently that cost $70 million.
I mean, I can see why, because it was quite a trailblazing game at the time. With what it could do.
It was Yakuza before Yakuza was even a thing.
Yeah.
Like the amount of stuff that you could do in that game, and I mean, like I said, on the platform for Dreamcast, are just nuts. But yeah, that does show me a little bit, because I'm like thinking of like other games that have come out for Sega prior. Like I think of even just some like Alien Isolation. I thought that would be quite expensive for the tech that was in there and how it looks graphically and stuff. But no, apparently not.
The license.
That
must have cost a few bob.
Oh, it must have, yeah. Just to get the license as well. Just looking at all the side games as well, you'd think even some like Frontiers would be pretty expensive. Well, we'll never know. We'll never know what Hyenas could have been like.
You never know. They might resurrect it in a few years' time.
I just hope it's not too much trouble for Creative Assembly, because they are like one of the better developers out there with their pedigree of, you know, the Total War series and like Alien Isolation. I think it was critically acclaimed, just didn't sell very well, unfortunately.
But you did speak about job losses there. It's not the only ones that have happened, is it?
Unfortunately not. We are seeming to be in a season of
bad will.
Unemployment.
So where we start? So shall I start with Team 17? So they announced a restructure, which sees around 50 members of their staff being laid off, mostly involving the QA department, which is worrying.
Yeah, who's going to test the games?
That's not good.
But apparently the CEO's off as well. So.
Ooh, wow. It's rare you see one of the top jobs go.
Who else we got? Telltale?
Yeah, there was Telltale as well, if I recall. They've had to lose some of their staff after only just forming back together.
Yeah. So technically this is like, so basically did you see this? There was a tweet from a guy, a cinematic artist who works there, called Jonah Huang. And he was saying that because like most of their staff got laid off. And it's technically like the second time it's happened to him, because he was there the first time, and then he went back.
Hey, it reminds me of someone else, Matt.
No, it's not happened the second time yet, unless you're hinting at something.
But then in August, Telltale actually bought Flavorworks. It seems like they've cut some of the staff at that company now as well.
Oh, great.
So
it's strange that they made an acquisition and then cut staff.
Yeah.
Like their own staff as well. Weird.
Yeah. Who else we got? Any more?
Well, it's one of the bigger ones, Epic Games.
Yeah, them as well.
They laid off a good number of staff. Interestingly, sort of the core of the, I suppose, layoffs have come to the Mediatonic team, the guys who made supposedly dead game Fall Guys. Which, I mean,
it'll be dead if no one's working on it.
Which is very unfortunate. Like, I don't know why it seems to be most of there. So, but
that's a shame. Because Fall Guys is fun, even though it's got its.
It's a good game. But I think it's got a good core concept of just take Takeshi's Castle and just make it playable, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that can never be like a bad time. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look too good for Mr. Sweeney. Is it Tim Sweeney? The one that's at Epic Games? Because apparently there was some mass layoffs from big tech companies earlier this year, and he posted a tweet on Twitter about like how Epic Games band together in the time of bad news and need and stuff, and now it's like, well, you've got rid of your staff, so
yeah. This is why you shouldn't drink and go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, I don't know if we were drunk or not, but yeah.
I mean,
it's just a silly thing to do. Like, you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah. Just trying to think who else. I'm sure there's
Have you heard about BioWare?
I've not heard about BioWare. No.
So at the end of August, 50 BioWare employees were terminated without cause. And apparently the severance package they were offered was less than what they were supposed to. And negotiations resulted in BioWare just refusing to increase. So 7 of the ex-employees now have filed a statement of claim with Alberta's Court of King's Bench, which is basically the superior court in Alberta, Canada, where they are.
Oh dear.
And they're requesting the fair severance pay now. So that's all kicking off as well. But no, what's going on? What's crap? What's cracking off here?
I don't know.
Did they overemploy during COVID and having to cut back?
I think a lot of companies did, to be fair, because that's when the tech company stocks were going up because people are using it more because they have more time, obviously for gaming, social media, and now it's correcting itself, and unfortunately people are losing their jobs.
It all seems to be going very ham-fisted, though.
Yeah, it's all just coming at once, isn't it?
Yeah. And nobody seems to be getting a fair, whether it's fair severance or time to know about it or anything. It just seems all very sudden. It's like, oh, you ain't got a job. And if all companies are, like, cutting people, nobody's going to be hiring, are they, in the industry? So, where else do they go?
Well, that's it. I mean, it's just a disappointing time, isn't it, at the moment? Like, the thing is with Epic as well, what is a bit frustrating is I'm sure I read somewhere recently, like, they made, like, big profits thanks to Fortnite.
Well, that's the thing about a lot of these companies, isn't it? It's always a case of, we're making
it's like, I always say, like, we're making profits,
losing,
and then, like, months down the line, like, but we need to make layoffs. Like, but you're making more money, so why, what? Are we making more money, but we're also losing more money? Like, how does that work?
Maybe. Is it less money going into the pockets of the execs at the top?
Well, there's always that question, isn't there? Like, we're making more money, but where's the money actually going?
Yeah.
So it certainly ain't going to these guys that are getting laid off. So
yeah. I don't think they're getting bonuses for the more profits, are they? Instead, it's you're sacked. That's a weird industry. I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder why anybody would actually go into that industry now. It seems like there's no job security.
Well, that's it. If you don't get laid off, you're getting smashed with crunch all the time to get games finished.
Yeah.
I think you've really got to have a passion for video games to actually, like, almost kind of ignore that side of the industry. I suppose it depends what you want to go into, doesn't it? Like, are you going to be a developer? Are you going to be QA? Are you going to be a writer? Like,
well, it seems like no matter who you are now, you're not working.
Well, yeah, unless you're an executive.
Pockets in the door. But no, everybody was going from these various companies. I wish them well. But where they go, I ain't got a clue.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talented people who get picked up by other companies, and
they all should all band together and make their own company. There's an idea.
It'll be good.
You just take everyone that gets laid off.
Yeah.
What would they call it? Layoff games.
Sure.
That just sounds like it's going to be set up for them to then eventually get laid off. That's not good.
And the circle continues.
Every time they come to the office, they look up at the name, they get PTSD. Oh, that'd be awful. Anyway. Yeah, I'm just rabbiting on now.
Well, I suppose if we move on from layoffs to potential strikes, I suppose we'll add to the more not so good news. I'm sure everyone's heard about the current ongoing, I suppose, protest over in America for I think is it the Writers Guild and the Actors Guild as well, I think.
Yeah.
So according to one article I read from Video Games Chronicle, according to this, members of SAG-AFTRA, the labor union for American actors, have voted overwhelmingly in favor of potential video game strike action. Now, from reading this doesn't mean that they're going to actually go into strike. I think it's more of a case of if it needs to be called into action.
They will
they
have
they would they have the, I suppose, the authority to be able to do that. Apparently, according to this, union members voted 98.32% in favour.
Quite overwhelming.
Which is very overwhelming. As the article continues, while this doesn't necessarily mean a strike is going to be called yet, it does mean that if the union doesn't get terms it considers acceptable while negotiating the interactive media agreement, it can call a strike right away, knowing its members already support the decision. So far, negotiations have failed due to what the union calls unacceptable terms on some of the issues most critical to our members, including wages that keep up with inflation, protections around exploitative uses of AI.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence, that is the word that I'm trying to say, and basic safety precautions. So far there have been 5 rounds of negotiations, with the next bargaining session set to take place between 26th and 28th of September. Which, as of recording, has clearly already happened, but we've not had an update since. So the union is in negotiations with a number of different video game companies and their performance production arms since October of last year. This includes Activision Productions, Blind Light, Disney Character Voices, EA Productions, Formosa Interactive, Insomniac Games, Epic Games, Take-Two Productions, VoiceWorks Productions, and Warner Brothers Games. So, looks like we're going to be having another strike with the looks of this old article now. Or at least we've not heard of one as of yet. But yeah, it's interesting reading into it.
What's that mean though? So but this is striking of the actors in video games. Is that right?
I believe so, yes. I think this is purely for, I imagine, like voice actors and performance actors.
Yeah.
So I imagine it'll be
silent protagonists is what we're going to be having. Now on.
Yeah, just follow Nintendo way, don't we?
Claude Speed from GTA 3 is going to be making his comeback in GTA 6. Oh.
He just comes back with like a sewn in like mouth.
Yeah.
So all he does is like mumbles. I mean, if it's anything like the current Actors Guild at the moment, I imagine a lot of it's going to be on rise of stuff like, especially in terms of like artificial intelligence of taking, somewhat quite similar to the whole Troy Baker story we had quite a months ago of like, using AI to mimic actors' voice and stuff, so you don't need to necessarily pay them because you've already got their voice. So, and that's a bit pretty scary. I suppose as well in terms of like model working as well, just being able to use like a performance actor's face and performance if you've already got it all recorded and kept via AI or something. I imagine that's quite scary.
Don't like AI. Ruins everything.
I think it can be used as a helpful crutch. personally.
Can't you knew Nathan's gonna jump in on that. I'm all for it depending on its usage. It's really all about how it's integrated.
It's going to be badly, because these things always go badly.
Yeah. I mean, there's always stuff. There's always about the Writers one as well, which I think is it the Writers one or is it the Actors one that's recently come to an agreement? I think it's the Actors one. It was the Writers one. Sorry. No, it wasn't it?
I think it's the Writers. Yeah, I think it's the Writers.
So like that's always like a scary time of like having AI write scripts and stuff, and it being a bit like, oof, that's not good.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what comes from that.
Certainly. Any more news?
Yeah, so just moving over to Nintendo a bit. So as we know, earlier on this year, the eShops got shut down for the Wii U and 3DS. In addition to that, in April next year, the Wii U and 3DS online services will be shutting down, with a slight caveat. So this refers to kind of the online cooperative play, internet rankings, and then data distribution. So all that's going to be shut down, apart from Pokemon Bank, the cloud storage system, do you know, where you can transfer your Pokemon to. So that's going to continue to work, because obviously the Pokemon company is going to keep funding that.
Interesting. At
least for the time being. So there's been no kind of date that that's going to be ending. But yeah, we've not been given an exact date, but we've just been told that sometime in April it's going to shut down, and that'll be it. And then literally the Wii U and 3DS will be, well, they won't be dead as such, but no console's ever dead.
Did you read the Q&A?
I read a bit of it, yeah.
Yes, basically said, will I still be able to play offline even after online services end? Yes, players will still be able to use features and game modes that do not require online communication. While you're also ending online services for software from publishers other than Nintendo. With some exceptions, online services will end for all Nintendo 3DS, Wii U software. Please contact publishers for information about the online services for their software. But you can still download update data and re-download purchase software.
Yeah.
Which is good. At least that's something.
That's good, because I did buy a few games on my Wii U. I bought all the Super Mario Bros. Games, Mario 64, so it's good that you'll still be able to download them. But yeah. Can we have some happier news now? I'm feeling a bit down.
Do you want something that could have been?
Something that could have been.
Never was.
Something that could have been, but that hasn't. Well, it could still happen. Who knows?
Ooh.
You're talking about our relationship, Mark?
We'll speak about that after the podcast. Right, so in an interview with VentureBeat, Activision president Rob Kostich said the following in response to a question about Call of Duty being a multimedia franchise. We've looked at a lot of those things. We've looked at multimedia. We've had proposals on theme parks. So there was a proposal for a Call of Duty theme park.
I'm just trying to imagine that. What
would you have at a Call of Duty theme park? I mean, obviously, you've got to have a ghost train, haven't you? You just have the character of ghosts popping out at you.
You'd have a haunted house with zombies.
Yes. Yeah, you could have a zombies.
Actually, yeah, I could see if they could recreate Nacht der Untoten map. It's like a zombie survival kind of thing. That'd be cool.
There must have been like a theme park themed map, Call of Duty. I would have thought somewhere over the years.
Isn't there a map called Chernobyl?
There is.
Because there's that famous
Ferris wheel. Yes, the Pripyat. Pripyat? Yeah, the Pripyat.
Yeah, so you could have something that looks like that.
Yes, you have that.
I was about to say, what's Chernobyl got to do with the theme park?
Well, they had that amusement park in there, but yeah.
There is one in...
Is it Carnival?
I want to say I'm intrigued. I'm gonna
What else could you have? So you can have like, those things where you throw darts at balloons. You can have ones where you like a throwing knife.
One thing they could do, you'll love this, Mark. They could have like a shipment map set up, but Laser Quest.
Yes. I'm sold. Get it built, Activision. Have a bingo hall with Mason. The numbers, Mason. What do the numbers mean? It means bingo. That's what it means, mate.
There's one zombies map, and it's got like a theatre. So you could have like a theatre play. I don't know what they play. Maybe streamers and stuff that stream Call of Duty. So you can go in and watch that.
What was that called? Kino de Toten.
Was that in Black Ops 3, were it?
It was Black Ops 2, actually.
Yeah.
Because he was the resident Call of Duty nerd here.
I'm surprised I even knew it was Black Ops. So I'm happy with that.
We could do like paintballing in like a Nuketown map. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
See, we're like, oh, what a ridiculous idea this
We're
is.
building
Then we think more about it. Like, actually, what a brilliant idea.
Give us a ring, Activision.
Why didn't we do this?
Get it built. Yeah.
Get it done.
And I guess that's it for the news. Shall we move on to what we're currently playing?
Let's do it.
Woo! Matt, do you want to start?
Me? Do you want me to start? Okay, I'll start.
Why not?
So, on the back of the last podcast, I was making my way through the intermission DLC on Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate.
Oh, yes.
And I can comfortably say that I have completed that now.
Hey.
Oh, nice one.
So I was literally like a few corridors down, and then I'm at the final boss room, really. So, what can I say about this final boss other than, oh my goodness, it took me a good amount of tries on it. I will not lie. Even just playing on a normal setting is a bit of a challenge. So, final boss, try not to spoil too much about. It's called Nero. Seems to be a bit of a kind of a vampire-esque character who likes to control dark chaos magic or something along the lines. And he goes through a different few phases during the fight. So the first one's quite straightforward. Of sort of my real strategy was just kind of use Yuffie and just kind of keep my distance away from him. I started getting down the strategy after about 2 or 3 tries of like being able to sort of throw my kind of shuriken at him and then using a particular move which kind of build up his stagger limit, I suppose. And then after a few more kind of hits like that, filling his stagger up and sort of hitting him into a stagger mode, then kind of just getting close and kind of hammering him with Yuffie and his and her partner, or I've forgotten the name, Sonon, I think it is. And then after maybe about a quarter of his health goes straight into a next phase and into a new room, and he starts developing this like kind of almost like an area of effect cloud, where if you kind of step into it, you start taking like continuous damage after a while. So it starts getting a little bit more tricky. It kind of kept my strategy about the same, kind of keep my distance until staggering him. And once he gets down to about half health, throws you back into the original room, and then he starts doing all this crazy stuff. He starts bringing up these like tornadoes of chaos that you can get caught in, and then he comes in, he can kind of grab you as well and take a good chunk of health. Like, it took a good number of tries, but eventually got it down, managed to beat him. And then as the story continues, Yuffie kind of escapes the Shinra building. You kind of find out that this like ultimate materia that she was looking for isn't quite ready yet, so you need to go and kind of, I suppose, report back to Wu-Tai about it. And then as she kind of leaves Shinra building, her story in the overall arc of Final Fantasy VII is when the Sector 7 plate comes down and like basically destroys everything underneath. So it kind of leaves there. Skipping to the next cutscene, she's already left Midgar. She's on a chocobo. She's making her way into the wild, and she's looking to recruit new people for her cause, which is great. That ends, and then there's like one more cutscene with the original Final Fantasy VII gang, who had kind of has already left Midgar, making their way to Calm. And you kind of see a little bit more of kind of what's going on there, really. And that's it. So that's pretty much all of Final Fantasy VII Remake that I can take now at the moment. I'm going to be waiting for Rebirth to come out next year in February. Can't wait for it, honestly. So after finishing that, I was still in a bit of a FF mood. Like I still wanted to kind of fill my boots a bit with Final Fantasy VII. Didn't kind of want to leave it quite yet. So I have continued my save file from the original Final Fantasy VII on my Switch, which I'm sure I talked about it maybe like last year or maybe like 2 years ago or something. I can't remember when I last picked it up and just started playing it. But I've effectively gotten to the point of the Temple of the Ancients. So if you kind of know where that is, great. If not, it's kind of hard to describe at this point. Basically, I've managed to pick up all party members that you can get in Final Fantasy VII. And I'm kind of sticking with like a core 3. I'm sticking with the Cloud, who's kind of like the balanced sort of character in the party. I've got Barrett, who's more sort of the long range damage / tank character. And then I've got Tifa, who does kind of a bit of both, but I've made her like my healer character in effect. So she's the one that I rely on to like make sure everyone's healing and Cloud doing all the damage and stuff. So basically, I want to almost like I never completed Final Fantasy VII at all, and this is probably the first that I've ever gotten. And I essentially kind of want to understand all the story, but from like my perspective of playing it before I get to Rebirth and then the eventual like final game in the remake trilogy, just to kind of like see all the changes in the story and like how they change it up for modern times and like where they're going to really change the story. Because like remakes like a very small section of the first, like the original game, really small section, but they extend it to 40 hours, even though really it's about 5 hours in like the original game. But they change up the story a lot.
I'd feel cheated from that though, them just stretching the game out that long. Or is it enjoyable?
I think it's enjoyable.
Is it grindy though?
No, I won't say that at any point you need to grind. You can pretty much go through it from start to finish without really grinding. Like you could do in the original as well. Like there wasn't really any grindy parts per se, but you can go from like start to finish straight through, just following the story if you want, even just ignoring some of like the side quests that are in it. The remake essentially kind of fleshed out that like first 5 hours to add a lot more like world building and depth to some like the supporting characters that you find and stuff. So, and they add to the story as well. It's not to avoid spoiling too much of it. It's not a 1-for-1 remake as such. They do change up story enough that it's almost its own game. It's just following similar beat paths from the original. So if you didn't want to go through it, like if you couldn't get into the original Final Fantasy VII, because it is what I like to call like an active turn-based game. I want to say it's like it is a JRPG, but it's not like you take your turn, enemy takes their turn. It's like an active bar that fills, and once it's filled, then you take your turn while the enemy takes as many turns as it wants. Really, I made the wrong decision once in a battle of like still thinking it was turn based, like the enemy takes the turn once, I've taken my turn. So I left it once and went downstairs, came back, had like died and had to start all over again. I was like, this isn't that kind of game. So but anyway, I'm playing through the original because I want to experience that, and hopefully I can get that completed if I can keep my focus on one game at a time, which is not going to happen at the moment because I've got a couple other games to talk about. So the next game I have picked back up after a few years as well. Maybe similar to Final Fantasy VII because of a recent mobile game that came out that's kind of got me hooked back into the universe. But I want to play the proper game now. So I started back up playing Monster Hunter World. So I've got a character already that's at about 70 hours, but I honestly can't remember what I actually did with them at all. So I was like, right, I'll start again. I've got the Iceborne DLC now, so hopefully some things are going to be new, some new mechanics and stuff that I didn't play since I got the original, and I'm just enjoying my time with it. I've been hooked into it again, like I did from when I first played it. So I love just the whole gameplay of it, like just having to pick up clues to get tracks of like where the monster is that you want to hunt. You start picking up clues to the point where then you find where the location is, and then you just start wailing on the monster with whatever weapon you want, provided that it doesn't want to eat you and stuff. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it again. Absolutely love it. I would say for like anyone who are curious about Monster Hunter but was kind of put off from like the older games, I think Monster Hunter World's a really good introduction game to the series because it's very streamlined.
I think you mentioned that to me before because I started with Generations and I didn't really get on with that one too much. But
yeah, the older games were very stuck in their old kind of ways of like you had to collect resources, which you do in this one as well, but stuff like sharpening your weapon had like a limited usage, whereas this one you can do it as much as you want, and it's more streamlined, I'll say. Stuff like roasting meat as well to be able to eat to get health and stamina is a little bit more streamlined as well. You're not just kind of waiting there for ages for it to cook. It's pretty snappy in doing it. And I think the big thing as well is that the actual, I suppose, area that you fight in, each zones are all linked to one another. There's no loading time in between zones like there was in the older games. So, if you're chasing a monster, it's going to a zone, you have to follow it, you've got to wait. You go through a loading screen, then you get into it. Like, that could be annoying because as well, like I've played Generations, I've been like fighting a monster, getting attacking, and then my attacks zoomed me into like the next zone, and that's the last thing I want to be doing. So now I've got to chase after the monster again. But this one's a lot streamlined. So just getting back into it, really loving where I am. And yeah, probably play a lot more of it. And then the last game that I've played, which I think you guys might have a little talk about on this one, because I think we've all got shared experiences with this game that's come out. It's not the new FIFA, but it's the new EA FC 24. As we say, rest in peace to the FIFA series for now. Until FIFA buy Konami or something, I don't know, and change eFootball. Maybe. So, current thoughts with it at the moment, just like any other FIFA, I think.
Yeah.
What can I say about it?
Warts and all.
Different menus, but same old game.
I will say
slightly different menus.
There's a slight. I do like the presentation a little bit more. It's just like a list of stuff rather than just displaying it bloody box.
It is a bit easier to manipulate.
Yeah, manipulate.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Navigate, yeah. I do think it's a little bit smoother, a little bit more streamlined. I like that. So where can I start? I suppose I'll start with my player career. So I decided to make a player career. I'm going to make a player. He's a striker. I've decided to start in League 2 with Doncaster Rovers because I'm like, right, I'm going to try try and be a bit of a journeyman kind of character. I'm going to start in League 2. Then I want to go to League 1, whether that's with Doncaster or with someone else. I don't mind. I'd probably like to move about. And then obviously try and get to the Premiership and be the best striker in the world. And it's a little bit different in this player career now, because you've got like a player agent with you who can suggest which teams to move to like advance your career in. And you can pick your own team as well. You don't have to like stick to what they tell you. You can go, right, like I was going to go, right, I want to go into League 1. I'll probably go to like Barnsley and I'll do like a tour of the Yorkshire teams or something. I'll get to League 1 with Barnsley. I'll get to Championship with Wednesday, provided they stay.
If we're still there.
If we're still there. Otherwise, I'm probably coming back down the league. And then I'll remember West Sheffield United, and I'll bug you all off and go to Newcastle eventually.
We're not going to stay at Prem anyway, so
well,
keep that as well.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Or maybe Leeds. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dirty Leeds.
That felt a bit dirty. But then there's an achievement / trophy you can get in your player career, where if you have to like follow your agent's recommendation twice in a single career, and they've recommended me this, like, I don't know what team it is. I think it's from Turkey. It's like a 3.5-star team, but it's not Galatasaray, and it's not I forget the other Turkish side that's quite popular as well.
Fenerbahce,
that's the one. Thank you. It's someone else. I can't recognize their badge. I think it begins with H. But I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. They're 3.5-star. That's a bit of an upgrade from this 1-star Doncaster team that I currently feel a bit inadequate in at the moment now for like the rank that I am. So I'm like, okay, I'll go there. I'll get the achievement first, and then we'll see what we do from there. So I've gone about how many 8-9 games in. We're top of the league quite easily, winning every match. The thing that I'm doing though, because in each match you get like 3 objectives to complete, and you can enhance one to get like bonus points or stuff. And I'm finding what I'm actually doing is I'll play the game, like maybe score a couple goals and stuff, and I'll check if I've already got these like 3 objectives complete. And if I have, I'm like, right, I'm just going to request a sub and just bugger off now. I can't be bothered to play the rest of the
sim to the end.
I'm going to sim to rest and just leave it to Doncaster's fate if they've let me down. So I've gone through quite a few games there, and we'll see how far I can take Doncaster and then where my career can go from there. I've done a very short manager career as well. I've decided to manage Newcastle, as I would. I've not got too far. I've only gone to like literally just the start of the Premier League season, so I'm going to be playing against Aston Villa. Probably going to whip them 5-1. But yeah, I've got some of the players. I've bought in a couple others. Like there was this. I think is he Canadian? There's a Canadian that played for. I think he was in the German league. I think it's called something James. That I've bought in because he's like 81 rated and he looks pretty good. And then I bought a new left back called Miranda, who's apparently like a world class prospect. So I'm like, okay, you're young enough, maybe you'll build into something pretty good in the future. I'll just give Dan Burn a rest. And then I've just got rid of some others. Like I got rid of Sean Longstaff. I'm like, I feel a bit bad, but he's 25, but he's rated lowish compared to everyone else in the squad. Like I've got an 86 rated Tonali, who's like my highest rated player. I'm like, you're not going to get in the squad, Longstaff. I need to get rid of some midfielders, unfortunately. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes as I continue with that one. And then we'll probably speak a little bit about pro clubs, or as it's now known as clubs. We've dropped the professional.
Amateur clubs.
Amateur clubs, yeah, and probably some of the vault. The vault stuff's quite similar to last year, anyway. So I don't think much
like the rest
changed.
of the game, though.
Well, yeah. Nothing has really changed there. Clubs has changed somewhat a little bit in how you progress through divisions now. So everyone starts in Division 5. You get a couple of wins. You go up to Division 4. You essentially just keep going up. There's no relegation anymore. It's pretty much you progress through these divisions now. And then after about a month, there's like a playoffs that you play in.
Yep.
And from what I can tell in there, I don't know if there's going to be a limited amount of games that you have to play, or if it's just play as much as you can. But you have to essentially try and play as much as you can. The more you play, the more wins you get, the more points, and then by the end of the playoffs, you'll earn a lot of stuff for your club. So you'll get like a lot of fans, which is meant to help with I think the star rating of the club. I could be wrong there. I don't know how it all works yet with the star rating now. So it used to be the number of like matches you played or something, but I know it helps with, I think, upgrading stadiums. You can get better stadiums with the more fans you get.
Yeah, our stadium's terrible at the minute.
Yeah. There's probably some other stuff, I imagine. You'll unlock like music or, well, not music, but like music that plays when you score a goal, I imagine. Or some people that we played had some weird stuff. And some other nonsense that you get, like you can get Volta coins as well and season points for something. I imagine after playoffs is finished, it probably resets everyone, I imagine. So, great.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know what your guys' thoughts on EA currently that you guys have been playing.
I've been having a good time. I started my manager career. Obviously, I'm managing Sheffield Wednesday.
Mm.
I absolutely gutted the club. I put everyone up for sale. Obviously, we're having a crap season so far, so I had no love lost for anyone. Barry Bannon, 1.4 million. Yes, please. I can put you towards getting some free agents that are better than you. So, yeah, honestly, everyone got sold, racked all the money up, and it's filled with free agents that are amazing. I've got like an 80 rated player. I think it might be 82 rated now, actually. But yeah, I've got a decent team ranging from like mid 70s to 82. But my favourite player that I've got right now is this guy called Afif. But he's not very happy and he's put himself on the transfer list. Well, the board's put him on the transfer list because I didn't listen to him. I never listen to him. When they come to me and say, they say to me like, "Oh, I want to play or I need a rest." I'm like, "No, I make the decisions. I'm the manager." So,
is that an anagram of FIFA?
Oh,
Afif, didn't you?
Afif, yeah.
Ifaf.
So yeah, he's causing me a bit of bother, but he's a good player though. So I did sub him for a couple of matches to try and teach him a lesson, but he still wants to leave. He's happy though. That's the thing. It's like his happiness and fitness is great. I don't know what's wrong with him. Does he not like Sheffield or something? What's not to love? But anyway, apart from the playing staff, we've had a pretty decent season. I've nearly finished my first season, so I've been playing it a lot. So I've nearly got us promoted to the Premier League. So stark contrast to how we're getting on in real life, like rock bottom with 3 points now. Yeah. We went out to Liverpool in the League Cup in the quarterfinals on penalties. So I think that's pretty good for like championship team. Not too bad. We pushed Liverpool all the way, but we just didn't have enough when it came to penalties, unfortunately. We've just beaten Aston Villa in the 5th round of the FA Cup, so we're still in that. So hopefully, maybe a bit of silverware, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's been going well, been enjoying that. In terms of gameplay, it is a little bit different to last year, but no marked difference really in the way that they play.
Yeah, I feel like the tackling's a little bit harder to do. I don't know. I seem to never get I never get to like the standing tackles never seem to work for me as much as they used to. So
yeah, and I think You had the same issue as me, didn't you, Matt? Like when you tried to sack a coach, it just crashes the game.
Yeah, so that's something new for
New feature.
yeah, that's a new feature. Crashing game. No, so in the managing career now, you can choose a play style that you want your team to be in. I think they call them like tactical visions. So like there's a few different ones. There's counter attack. There's I'll probably say it wrong again. There's the Gen press.
Geiger press.
Gangnam style.
Gundam style.
Can you imagine? That would be amazing.
Yeah, that one. The clock press. There you go.
The Jurgen press. There we go.
The Jurgen, yeah. The I want to replay press. No. Yeah, there's a few others as well that you can pick, and then what you can do then is you can hire coaches to increase like the training of players under that style. So you get a list of coaches. Some are accomplished within one style. They could be an expert in the style as well. I think like if you get an expert, then the training time for players is reduced better. And then each one's got like a star rating. So like when I started initially, I didn't. I had a decent defense coach, and then kind of like okay accomplished everywhere else. And then like after a month, I was like, oh, I'll look to see if they've got new coaches, maybe might help and stuff. And they did, and like you know, I got like expert in attacking and midfield. Still didn't get one for goalkeeping, but I got like a cheaper one at the same star level. So I was like, okay, I'll pop them in. I want to get rid of this midfield coach because he's only 2-star. Went to sack him, and then the window just freezes at like, do you want to sack him? It's this amount, it's an extra fee to sack him, and he just froze. So this is like a PSA for anyone that's playing a managing career in the new EAFC. Please don't try and sack a coach, otherwise your game will freeze, or at least save very often.
Or just don't hire any coaches.
Or just don't play the game, you know. There's that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, I interjected. If you want to continue.
That's all right. I just want to get your opinion on it. They played a couple more game modes. So I played a bit of Ultimate Team. So I put a team together, cobbled together with bronze players and loans that they gave me. And I got slapped 6-3. So I had a 63 rated goalkeeper. What do you expect? Against bloody Roberto Carlos or whoever it was.
Mate,
tearing me apart.
Some of the teams I've seen in Ultimate Team already, just from like TikToks alone, is just nuts. Have you seen like I do like the little double walkout. That's quite cool. I've seen some of them. That's funny. And then all the trolls as well. People thinking they've gone like Saka from Arsenal, and it's just this female like and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
There's female footballers in Ultimate Team now as well. It was fun. There's another fun one as well. So one thought they got Neuer at Bayern, and it was this female goalkeeper again. So lots of trolling.
That's not a bad thing.
Oh no, it's totally not a bad thing.
It's just that people build their hopes up.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just now it's like people just they're accustomed to like getting good stuff, or like not good stuff. It's the wrong word. Certain male players, I will say, and then they get disappointed.
Just circling back to pro clubs. The first session that we had, I think we can all agree it was a pretty mixed bag.
To be honest, but usually when we played,
for a first
we
session,
always had a crap first session. So actually, a mixed bag isn't terrible.
No.
So we'll take it. But yes, you are right.
I think we probably got 2 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. We were pretty even, weren't it?
Yeah.
And one of the wins was via
a disconnect.
So can we really class that?
Yeah,
I saw that. I was like, well, technically we just had 1 win.
And then we had that other win where we won about 6-1. We did fairly well in that match. So, yeah. But
Didn't we win a match when we were losing? Because they quit. Was that match?
I think it could be, yeah.
Yeah. So
we were losing.
We won a match. Yeah, we were losing the match, but we still won it anyway somehow.
Yeah.
So, but we'll take it.
Yeah. And then we had another session the other night, and we won all our games. They were fantastic.
That was much better.
Luring us into a false security, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what happens next time.
Yeah.
It's been all right so far.
Look, though, we can have like a successful road to Division 1 this time now.
With our amazing goalkeeper.
Yes.
That was weird.
Mr. Invisible.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Mark got sent off, as per usual.
Oh, yeah. Let's not cast aspersions here.
Look, right? You've taken over the red card stuff from me. I used to be really bad.
To be fair,
according to the stats, no one's got a red card. So.
Well, yeah, according to the stats.
To be fair, I have had 3 red cards so far. One of them was in a drop-in match. When I eventually got into a drop-in match, because those things are impossible to get into, you would see.
They were the first night, honestly. It
still is. I tried one earlier, still the same.
It's probably why I've gone over to Volta. It's so much easier to get into matches.
I've not played Volta yet. I'm not imagining it to be any different.
I will say, I had one match where literally I was the only person running. That was frustrating. That's why I just played the arcade mode now, because it's actually fun.
Yeah, we did explain. So, I got sent off, and then our keeper just became randomly invisible for some reason.
Yeah, and
you got sent off. They had a free kick.
They just scuffed it against the ground because they thought there was no goalkeeper.
Yeah, they just oh, look, this is empty now. We'll just pop this in really carefully. And suddenly the ball gets picked up and
floating ball. Yeah.
And then it worked out that our keeper were invisible. So right, okay. And then they just kept on taking shots from wherever, just still hoping this goalkeeper wasn't there.
I'm hoping it continues. I'm hoping we will log on next time.
To the next game is still invisible.
It's invisible.
Oh, it's just every time you get a red card, it just makes a player invisible.
That's it. Take what foot team.
But every time opposition striker comes into box, just send charge keeper out. They won't know they literally won't know what's in.
Oh, we did that towards the end of the game, didn't we? We sent keeper forward and they just absolutely mullered.
One thing that I liked is that their player got through 1-on-1. But he didn't know where the keeper was, and the keeper just scooped the ball up from him.
Yeah, just took it. It's right, this is mine now.
And he just jumped in the air top stuff.
Right, what's this story I've heard as well about a co-op match you guys were in?
Oh yeah.
Go on, Dave. You tell us story.
So, it started off so well. Honestly, we were popping some right goals in. Yeah, we were 3-0 up, and then we thought, this is going a bit too well. So they pull one back. We're like, all right, no worries. We've got a 2-goal cushion. And then they score the scruffiest little goal that somehow gets its way in.
I'll just interject. We were playing as
Real Madrid.
Yeah. We're playing against Bayern Munich.
Real Madrid? Thought you would have gone with Man City.
Well, we thought about what would be the sweatiest team to use.
Yeah.
Well, it's not PSG anymore. So.
Exactly. We were going to go for PSG originally, but we thought, this Neymar's gone. We'll go for somebody else.
Yeah, so they got spanked by my team. So still living on that edge.
But yeah, so they get another one back, and then just before half time, they equalise. Right, typical.
Yep.
And then we kick off about the FIFA scripting. Well, sorry, EA Sports FC 24 scripting.
Yep.
As always. And then I think they eventually didn't they go into lead? No, they didn't go into lead. No,
it remained that.
It remained that for quite a while. But it might not have at one point because I sillily gave away a penalty.
You silly.
Yeah.
An hour at net. All the confidence in the world, I'm going to save this. I know where he's going. Well, I didn't know where we were going because he skied it over the bar, thankfully.
Yeah. Nice.
As Harry Kane.
Yeah, as Harry Kane.
So
Harry Kane has scored a hat-trick at this point as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, just to add to it. But we get to the 80-odd minute, the clock's ticking down, and I run forward as one of the centre-backs, and play an amazing ball through to Mark, who's running through. And he scores the goal, 88th minute. We all go ballistic. And then we defend for our lives for this last however long. It felt like hours, but it probably about 30 seconds. Because they had a couple of chances to get through. And thankfully we held on strong and got the win. But yeah. Oh, they had a player sent off before we had a player sent off as well for a silly tackle. But yeah, it was pretty good. Well, that's a pretty good game. It was an exciting game.
Yeah, it was an eventful game. We'll say that.
Yeah.
I'm
Both
with
at
one, so
neutrals.
I only care about the win.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's my experience so far with EA Sports FC. Have you got anything to add, Mark, or is that pretty much your lot?
Well, I say me for because I've only played clubs and co-op with you guys. Well, as I say, I played the drop-in match. Like, I managed to get into like 4 drop-in matches, and I managed to score in my first one.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
We still went on to lose the match, but I'll take the goal. And it was a nice curler from outside the box.
Oh, wicked.
Happy about that, but yeah, it's the rest of the team let me down.
That's it.
Yeah.
I feel the same way playing with you guys, so. You both hate me, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's EA Sports FC. So what have you been playing, Mark?
Okay, right. I got a biggie.
Cool.
So I've been playing a game I've been excited about for a long time, and I actually bought this a while ago, and I actually got 5 days early access to it. I've been playing Starfield.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I can't believe you got early access.
Well, I actually had the following week off work, so I thought I'd best take this opportunity. I did a few other stuff, but yeah,
Good as time as any.
I did spend quite a bit of chunk playing it, and I've played a lot of it since. But I wanted to give a bit of time, just before I spoke about it on the pod. So I've put a lot of hours into it, but I feel like I've only scratched the surface, really. So basically, at the start of the game, obviously you make a character, because that's what you do in these Bethesda games. You make your own character. So you have to give your character like a background to begin with, and you get a choice of a load of backgrounds and things like that. On each background gives you a set of 3 skills that you can use. So I've decided to go with the background of a soldier, because I thought I basically picked the one that I thought was going to be the most useful with what might come. So this gives you fitness, so that increases your lung capacity, it's basically that helps with running and things like that. You got ballistics, so that improves your projectile combat with weaponry, and then most importantly, boost pack training. So this is where you can get a mobility backpack on you, which you don't just get. You have to get the skill. So I would highly recommend you, if you play it, to get that as early as you can. If you don't choose this background, and then you get the option to choose a set of traits, and these are basically, all I say is modifiers to the game. So like unique things you can apply to your game that make it a bit unique to you. So I decided to choose to have these are completely optional. You don't have to have any. You can have 1, you can have 3, 2. You don't have to have any at all if you don't want. But I decided to have a dream home. So what this does is you get your own mansion on a remote planet, right? However, it comes with 125,000 grand. 150,000 grand? That doesn't make sense. 125,000 credit mortgage that you have to pay off.
Right. So you're saddled with a ton of debt. Yeah,
so at the beginning of the game, that's not really that helpful. And every time you visit it, you have to pay off a bit of this mortgage to get it. I chose another one called Kid Stuff, which is where you send money to your parents, and you can actually go and visit them in one of the cities. And you can have conversations with them, and they'll end up giving you some gifts. That's quite a nice one. Sav.
I should hope so for the money you're giving him.
Yeah. And then finally, I decided I wasn't sure what to have for this. I was torn between two for this final one. I was either going to have the Adoring Fan, which, I don't know if you know the story of the Adoring Fan. But basically, it's a guy who follows you and is a bit of an irritant, shall we say. But he seems to like you and he gives you stuff for free and all that.
Yeah, this is like a
callback.
meme, isn't it?
Yes.
From previous ones. I think it was in Oblivion first. I think it was.
I believe so. Yes.
And then he's just turned up in like every Bethesda games.
Yeah. I thought, should I have him for the lols? And then I thought the other one I was thinking about was Wanted, which basically makes you be hunted by bounty hunters throughout your game. And in the end, I went for that one because I thought the Adoring Fan might become a bit irritating eventually. I mean, I could have just shot him, I guess, but anyway. Brief thing about the start of the game, because I don't want to talk too much about what happens and all that. But basically, you start off as a miner. You're mining stuff. You find an artifact. A weird thing happens. You're told to go and meet some people, and then your adventure begins. The universe is your oyster, shall we say? But I just want to talk about some of the mechanics of the game and things like that. So, obviously, as I mentioned, skills earlier. So you have 5 sets of skill trees, right? And you have a ton of skills to unlock. I have no idea whether you can have the ability to unlock them all, because there's a lot going on. So you've got physical, which is like strength and power and that kind of thing. Social, so basically this gives you like the better gift of the gab, so you can talk your way out of certain situations and things like that. Combat, obviously increased weapon efficiency, that kind of business. Science, so you can better research, so you can unlock more stuff, that kind of thing. And then tech, which is mostly like improvements for your ship, that kind of thing. But each skill has a rank. So you've got like 4 ranks to every skill. And you get benefits for each rank. But each rank requires a skill point. So if you want to fully upgrade one skill, you need to spend 4 points on it. So you have to be really focused on what you want to do fairly early on. And then, well, each rank, or you can't just spend a point and get the next rank. You have to then do a challenge in the game to be able to get the opportunity to rank it up. For instance, in the one called piloting skill, which this allows you to fly higher class ships. So you start off with A, you can only fly A class ships, and you can work your way up to C. And basically, with each rank, you have to destroy a set number of ships in space combat. And then once you've done a set many, that's when you can rank it up. So as you're going around your planet, you've got a scanner that you can use. This is, the typical kind of RPG space exploration thing where you scan minerals and that kind of thing. Probably the least interesting part of these sorts of games, I would have to say. Space exploration is that I'm not really interested in resource management and that kind of stuff, and looking for rocks. But you do have this cutter, this mine cutter thing, and that's what you use to mine all your minerals and stuff like that. You can actually fast travel using the scanner. So when you put the scanner on, presuming you've gone to places on the planet you're on, it will pop up with a logo, and you can actually just click on it, and it will just take you there, which is quite good. So you don't have to go into maps all the time and things like that. And this is also where the photo mode is as well. So you whack the scanner up, and then you can put photo mode on, take a nice photo and all that. And there's a nice little, I won't say Easter egg, but a nice little feature is that any photos you take with the scanner, because there's like an in-game photo, as well as taking a screenshot. And basically, the in-game photo will actually end up going onto loading screens as you play the game. Cool. So as you progress and you take more photos, you'll just see more of them appear as loading screens. That's quite a nice feature. There we go. Of course, in these sorts of games, the lock picking, which in this is called digi picking, I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Hacking, digipicking. You use a digipick to open things. And how do you describe this? So basically, you imagine you've got like a circle, and it's got a gap in it, and then on the right, you've got a series of other circles with little lines on them, and you've got to try and find the one that will fit into the gap on the puzzle. So it's more a puzzle thing rather than twiddle the thumbsticks like you do on the previous Bethesda games. That's, to begin with, it can seem quite daunting, those stats, because you can have like multiple ones. So you might have a circle with like 7 gaps in it, and you've got to overlay maybe 3 of these puzzles on top of that, and then there's a ring inside that one once you complete it. So they're like multi-layered puzzles. So you can upgrade these as one of your skills as well, but they are quite complicated to begin with. Then you have something called persuasion challenges. So imagine you're talking to someone and you want to, I don't know, you want to get a lower price for something or something like that. And you can enter into like a special persuasion dialogue box, and it comes up with like a point system. So for instance, let's say you're talking to someone and then persuasion comes up and you've got 6 points that you have to accumulate talking to this person. And each of your dialogue choices has a point allocated to it. And it's kind of like a traffic light system. So green will give you 1 point, which means you've got a high chance of success of that working. Yellow, 2 points, a moderate chance of success. 3, red, low chance of success. But it's all about, playing the percentages. So you've got 3 chances using that system to accumulate 6 points. So you might want to just go red, which is risky because it might not work at all. Or you just play it safe, 1-1, but then you're going to fall short by 4 points. So you need to take a risk at some point. So that's an interesting little thing. The only thing that annoys me about that is that every persuasion conversation ends up feeling the same. It's like the dialogue always seems to be the same thing. And a lot of them don't make sense in the context of the conversation you're having. It's like you'll be talking to a shopkeeper saying, "Oh, just lower your prices for me, mate." And then one of your dialogues will be like, "You will have your orders, I have mine." It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense in this conversation. Why am I saying that to you? But yeah. Now, of course, in an RPG, you'll pick up a lot of loot, and darn it, you do pick up a lot of loot in this game. But the matter of over-incumbents, which is always a thing, isn't it? It's always a problem. It irritates everyone, but it's actually not a terrible thing in this, because unlike previous games, it doesn't slow you down, right?
That's good, at least.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you can still move, but what happens is that your oxygen goes down quicker as you move.
Okay.
And what happens is when your obviously you've got an oxygen scale, so when you run, the oxygen depletes. And then once that depletes, your CO2 increases. And once that's increased to the max, you then start to lose health. So it's a balancing act, basically. But you can move at general speed with over-incumbents, but your meter will go flying down quick. But it's better than being utterly slow. It really is. And also, if you've got the boost pack, that can help alleviate it as well, because you can just boost your way other places. That won't expend any oxygen, that kind of thing. So that's good. Ship modifications. So I did have a little look at modifying the ship. So when you land at a spaceport, you can modify your ship and you can add modules onto it and that kind of thing. And it's quite intuitive, I have to say. It works like Lego brick making. It's like you can just click bits onto it and things like that, and the game just works. The game will just slot them where it's possible. Bit expensive though, so maybe that's something you could just do to end game. But you can also actually before you finish modifying your ship, it does do like a flight check thing. So you can't do stupid things with your ship and then the game will say, no, you can't have that. Because sometimes you might put so much mass on the ship, but it doesn't have the engines to lift it up. So you've got that kind of thing. But you can pay to rename your ship as well. I've not done outpost building yet, because it seems like that could be quite a time sink. And that could require a lot of resources from what I've read. So, and plus I think you've got to find like the perfect planet or somewhere.
Yeah.
Because to mine minerals from and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Characters. So you meet quite a bunch of characters, as you might imagine. A few of them, as you can have as companions. They're okay so far. From what I've met, I've not met everyone. They seem good. But in bars and clubs that you come to across the universe, you can hire people to join your crew, who can then go onto your ship, or you can put them on an outpost or whatever. Now, the trouble is, the skills limit to how many people you can have on your ship at the start. So I found like 12 people I could possibly hire, but I can only hire like 3 of them. So it's like on the skill tree, you have to spend at least 8 points to get a higher tier of skill, which includes the one to get a higher crew numbers. So I've got to wait on that. So I'm meeting all these great people and I can't do anything. I can't hire them. Like weapons, the combat is surprisingly good, really good. Actually, I really like it, particularly the ballistic weapons. But the one problem you might find as you play early on is ammo. You may run out of ammo quite easily. And the reason is, it feels like just about every gun has a different ammo type. There is so much different ammo variations. It's quite overwhelming, but it's just the way it is. As you play on, you'll accumulate more and all that. But one good thing is, the weapon wheel, you can actually have 11 weapons on your weapon wheel.
Oh, nice variation then.
So my tip is to have a weapon with all different variations of ammo type on your wheel. Just so you never run out. Because it's pointless having 3 of the same weapon that uses the same ammo type, because you'll just run out with one weapon with it. So it works like so it's on up, down, left, right, and you just press it like 3 times, up to 3 times. So you can have 3 on left, 3 on right, 3 up, and 2 down, because 1 down is your health.
That works the same as Fallout 4.
Right. Vehicles, no ground vehicles. But I think we expected that. Well, for what we know of.
Yeah. Because of the way the walls are in game when you load onto a planet. Have you experienced that yet? Have you hit a wall when exploring?
I've not hit a wall, but I've not tried to venture too far out from the interesting places. Because you have to use the boost pack, which is good. The boost pack is good. I do like that. But it's even better when there's low sense of gravity. Because obviously you go fly. That's what you like to see. But no, I've not ventured too far from the outgoing. Spaceships. So when you're flying in space, your ship has a points allocation. So you've got 50 points there for your ship, and you can allocate those points to different systems on the ship. So, for example, if you're in a dogfight, you might put 5 on your shields, 4 on your laser weaponry, 4 on missiles, and 2 on engines, something like that. But if you're exploring, you might just whack 10 on engines and then 5 on your gravity drive, that kind of thing. And that's quite a nice little feature. I quite like that. So you can change your speed, because if you put more into engine, you can increase your top speed as you're moving about and that kind of thing, which is good. Piracy. Now you can storm other ships and steal their contraband if you want.
Have you done that yet?
I have. That's a fun thing. But you've got to be careful when it comes to contraband, because if you go, because the place is called the settled systems, which is basically where humanity is settled. in various planets and that kind of thing. And if you go to these places, when you arrive in their star system, they will scan your ship, and if you have contraband, they will arrest you and take all your hard-earned contraband. So basically, you have to try and avoid those places. But I found somewhere where I can flog the contraband and not be scanned. So I am always, every time I take contraband, I immediately go there just so I don't forget about it. But you can buy from vendors, like nudge, nudge, wink, wink vendors, like shielded cargo bays. So you can steal contraband and they'll be shielded by scans and that kind of thing. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go flog it. The music, I really love the music. In fact, I love the music so much that whenever I play the game, I listen to the full intro music on the main menu, and it lasts about 2 minutes. So what I do is I put the game on, I have my wireless headset on, and I'll just go and do something. I'll go and put and make a coffee or something, and I'll just listen to the music for 2 minutes. It's wonderful. I love it. It gets me to the mood for it. But the rest of the music in the game is great as well.
I thought you were going to say, but the rest of the music's crap.
No. Right. It wouldn't be a Bethesda game without a few bugs. Now, would it? This is no exception. So I went. I don't want to say too much because it's a nice place, and I don't want to spoil the place. But there's a hotel that you visit, and I went to the shop, and I just asked them, "Oh, I just want to view your wares," and it just kept reloading the dialogue box while I'm coming up with it. I'm just like, well, this isn't right. What's going on here? But and then sometimes when you're having a conversation, people will start walking in between you, and that like just glitching out and things like that, which is odd.
But seems very Skyrim.
Yeah. But one of my earliest bugs, which did amuse me actually, was I went into, I can't remember, it's either a bar or a coffee shop, something like that, and I was talking to the woman behind the bar. Right, and on the counter was a plant just to the side, right? So I'm there talking to this woman, and then we're having this conversation, and for some reason my character just starts sidestepping to the right, and eventually I'm talking through this plant to this woman, and we're just having this conversation through this plant, and just like, I don't know, Bethesda. We'll get onto some criticisms. Now, well, this isn't the criticism that really bothers me, but I know a lot of people are finding this as a criticism. And that's, take other Bethesda games, you've got a world, and you can walk from A to B if you wanted. That's not really a thing in Starfield, because obviously you're on certain areas of land, and you can't really walk from there to another planet. And that to me doesn't bother me, but I know that bothers a lot of other people, because it's like, I think a lot of people find the adventure in the things that happen in between.
Yeah.
And that's not to say things don't happen in the space, but you are zipping about systems. You don't physically move yourself from one system to another. You do have to technically fast travel through it. I mean, actually, I've never tried. It would seem insane to try and fly normally between systems, in my view.
Funnily enough, someone tried it. I think I can't remember which systems it were. I think it was like they got to, it was either Juniper or it was Pluto from somewhere.
Was this a lot of PS?
It was, yes.
I remember hearing that.
I think it took 8 hours. You can go from planet to planet.
Don't bother. The game's big enough as it is without doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, don't do it, because when she actually did get there, she found that she can actually like interact with the planet. She was like flying kind of through it, and it wasn't really there, sort of thing. So it was a bit unfortunate.
One thing that I am going to criticise though is the map when you're on a planet. So you do venture into some quite big like cities, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And you put the map on, and it is horrendous. It's all you get is symbols for the districts. So, for instance, you might have commercial district, residential district, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's It's like like topography. So it's got like undulations and that kind of thing, and it's like a wire mesh map. So you don't you don't see anything. You don't see buildings or roads or all like that. You literally just got this mesh thing, like you're in the Matrix, and these floating logos on it, and that's supposed to be a map. You can't work your way around anywhere on land. You've just got to know it.
Does it not fill out as you walk anywhere?
It's not a fog of war thing or all like that. That is literally it. It's poor. I don't know what they were thinking. So you've got to know exactly where you want to go and how to get there. Also, saying that you can use the fast travel thing, but that's pretty bad. And then a slight criticism of the universal map. So when you're zipping between different systems and that kind of thing, it's easy to forget the places that you've been to because there's no list of places you've been. And when you're on like the map showing, because you start with this wide star map, and then you zoom into the system, and then you can zoom into the planet or the moon or whatever. But when you're on the big one, you have no idea where any place is unless you can recognize the star system. And I just wish it saved like a list so that you could click on the list and then that would direct you to that place.
Yeah,
that does seem a bit of a strange one.
The only way you're going to get places if you've got a quest directing you to that planet, which is quite annoying. I just wish you had a location choice kind of thing. Frame rate. Now, it is a 30 frame per second game, which isn't... I'm not going to knock that.
Ooh.
It's fine when it works. But when you get into a busy area, oh boy, that drops quite significantly, I found. And it happens quite often, which is annoying. But I'm hoping that can be patched. But I'll finish pretty much with, let's just say glitch, shall we say? An exploit. Because I did find online a nice little exploit that could help with my endeavors. So it turns out that for some reason in this game there are random chests that are underground, like underneath the map.
Mm-hmm.
And in the spaceport of the first main city you come to, there is a glitch where if you pull out a melee weapon and you go and stand by this particular wall, you pull out your melee weapon, get into a combat stance, and then you jump up, and then as soon as you land, you press forward, you can glitch into the wall. And it can take quite a few tries, but once you've done it, you can just run under this guy by the spaceport, and it's just got a treasure chest underneath it. And it's got like 72,000 credits in it. So you can click the 72,000 credits, jump back into the map, and then you fly yourself to Venus, because there's this thing where, the whole wait system, where you're waiting 8 hours or whatever. In this, because it's space based, it's like each planet has their own unique time frame, and things like that. So if you go to Venus, you only have to wait like 6 hours, and that will theoretically jump your head at like 100 hours or something. So then you can fly back and do the glitch again, and you can keep doing it.
Wow.
So I kind of made the most of this, of course, for a little bit.
How long did you spend on this?
I don't know, but I came to quite a bit of money, and I ended up going to buy myself the most expensive ship in the game, called the Narwhal.
How much did that set you back?
I don't know. I want to say something like 400,000. Maybe above that.
That's not too bad. That's probably doing the glitch about 6 times.
No, it's more than that. I don't know, but that wasn't all. I also paid off my house.
Oh, nice. Don't have to worry about that anymore.
I thought I've got to deal with that while I'm here.
Did you sort your mum and dad out with a bit more cash, or just left them to rot?
Well, they're still taking money off me. So, but unfortunately, they have now patched that.
You built my hopes up then, Mark.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Don't patch the game. Don't patch the game.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's just do vanilla game. Just take it off internet. But no, that was good while it lasted, and I'm glad I managed to get that stuff out of the way first. Because I wanted that ship. I really wanted that ship. And then I've got married in the game. That's a thing. You can do that.
Congrats. Where was my invite?
Well, there was only 2 people there. Well, and the wife.
Not the priest.
Kind of no, it's priests. I don't know, but I don't want to go into it for story reasons. But you can marry different people. Yeah. But for the lols, I decided that after the marriage ceremony, I did a quick save, and then I divorced her on the spot, just to see what would happen.
Jeez.
Savage. I love it.
Yeah. Stormed off in a huff. But it was funny because the 2 other people there just didn't bat an eyelid. They were just like, "Oh, congratulations!" Well, but anyway, I've done a lot of other things, but I'm not gonna talk anymore on it. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. Fantastic. It's a real time sink though. Well, but that depends if you want to fly about, because you will find yourself using menus and fast travel quite a lot, which might sound bad, but actually when you start playing it, you start understanding the game a bit more. You'll find out it's not that bad actually. But I know that's probably a negative to a lot of people. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to playing even more of it. And I've played a lot of it, but I think I've only done like 5 main missions.
Wow.
That's what always happens with these games, though.
Yeah. You just get sucked into other things. Yeah. And there's so many other people you can meet and talk to. It's like you're going to a shop. Oh, you can have a nice conversation with them. You find someone just stood outside you can have a conversation with. And the thing is, not everybody might lead to a quest. They might just have a little chinwag with you. But no, it's really good. Apart from this, the glitchiness of it. Well, not the nice glitch. That was good while it lasted. But of course they fixed the one that was the exploit, but not the things that are actually wrong with the game. But there you go.
Oh, of course, that's always how it is.
That's modern gaming, isn't it? But there you go. That's what I've currently been. Shall we have a public service announcement?
Yeah, let's have a PSA.
Yeah.
Making a format change.
Yes. Joking Dolphin is changing. So we're actually going to move. So we're moving to a shorter format, but we're going to be weekly. But we don't know when we're going to be posting this. It'll be next week sometime, we think.
Yeah, stay tuned.
But if you enjoyed listening to us, please consider tuning in next time. We will release sometime, you'll see. You can visit our website at jokingdolphin.com. Also, feel free to follow us on all social media platforms to continue the conversation. You can find Joking Dolphin on YouTube and Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. Until next time, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Take care.
See you later. And X.